Remnant 2 is the worst game I've played in a long time. This game is a sequel to Remnant from the Ashes, which probably flew under most people's radar but was very much a good game. And the best way to describe it is imagine Dark Souls with all its mechanics and now give everybody guns. Yes, that's exactly what Remnant 2 is. Dark Souls but with guns. So, right off the bat, you will notice that character customization isn't actually crazy, nor does it offer plenty of options. That isn't a bad thing per se, since most of the time when you play, you will be rocking a helmet anyway, but it also means that every character may just end up looking the same. But here's the thing, you get to choose whether you want to play with a hardcore character or not, and hardcore basically means that when you die for good and your character is lost forever. If you want to play with friends on hardcore, evidently they would have to also have chosen a hardcore character. So far, so good. You then have to choose difficulty, which is where things get interesting. You know, after I got the S plus rank for the professional difficulty in the Resident Evil 4 remake, I thought I could take on anything. Because let's be honest, that's the most toxic thing you can do in a video game. Besides trying to get the platinum trophy in Crash Bandicoot 4. That is evil. Anyway, we chose the highest difficulty available, thinking, well, what could possibly go wrong? It can't be that bad, right? Right? Now, quick question. Try guessing how many characters we lost while playing hardcore. Just take a guess. The answer will truly scare you because we died not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times in hardcore before trying a not hardcore run. So the first good thing I can say about the game is that it runs well. I'm playing on the PlayStation 5 system, and even while being overwhelmed from every direction by enemies, the game was still smooth and consistent. The one thing you may immediately notice though is the screen tearing, which mostly appears during cutscenes. Therefore, Remnant 2 is off to a great start because, well, not many games nowadays are playable at launch. So that's a big plus for Remnant 2 and a concerning fact about modern gaming as a whole. But anyway, after a quick tutorial, which should take you about 20 to 30 minutes depending on whether you skip the dialogue or not, you will be able to choose your starting class. I decided to go with the Challenger class because it looked badass and my main perk was being able to revive myself upon death. But you also have some combat skills you can use during combat. My friend picked the medic class and became the healer of the party, since his skill allows him to heal himself and allies, a tank and a doctor. We thought that's all we needed to succeed. So when it comes to combat, the feeling is very pleasant. The gunplay is satisfying even with your starting guns. I can only assume the experience will get even better by the time you unlock more weapons and abilities. That said, my main concern with the combat is the dodge mechanic, because as far as I'm concerned, it just doesn't work or isn't reliable enough to be viable. The game is Dark Souls with guns, but I can't help but feel like they went the Jedi Survivor route when it comes to enemies' hitboxes. And if you're not familiar with Jedi Survivor's combat design, let me explain it to you, or rather, let me show it to you instead. Yeah, so basically, that's some bullshit. It doesn't matter when or how you dodge, since the enemy's hitbox is so wide that you will end up being hit anyway. This made dodging quite frustrating, since 9 times out of 10 you will still get hit, which also meant that we couldn't really rely on our melee weapons, because yeah, you do have some melee weapons you can use, but with the hit detection being so wonky, that was a no-go. The other problem is ammo. Because of the difficulty we're playing at, enemies will take more hits than usual before going down, which was expected. But they also drop some ammo upon death, so you should be okay. That is, until you encounter Mob Leader. They are not bosses per se, but they are way tankier, strong, and actually stronger than your typical enemy. You can easily burn through your resources if you don't play it safe or understand the particular gimmick you need to use to defeat them. And if you are playing with friends, which you absolutely 100% should, ammo is shared between the party members, meaning that if you pick up some ammo, it is gone for every other member. Something you should keep in mind. But here's the thing, the dodge mechanic and the ammo limitation didn't feel like real issues since we could always just adapt. But then we died 2 hours into our first run to the very first thing I truly despise. Remnant 2 also has your typical bonfire feature. You rest at the bonfire and reset every enemy on that particular level, but your health and ammo will also be replenished. And every very dead friend you have in your party can also be revived once you interact at the checkpoint, even on hardcore. So death is not truly the end as long as one party member is still alive. The problem is you have to not be in combat to activate the checkpoint. Why? Why would they do that? That defeats the whole purpose of a bonfire, unless I'm truly mistaken. And listen, it isn't as simple as just running away from the mob, since enemies will track you down everywhere you go, as if you owe them money, never ending the encounter until you kill them all. Yes, until you kill every single one of them. And I also had an issue in my solo run where the game assumed I was in combat even if there was no enemy around whatsoever. And yeah, I couldn't interact with the checkpoint since I was supposedly in combat. So my friend died. I got COVID. I swear to God, I was coughing and everything. I couldn't run. I tried to go back to the checkpoint, the bonfire, to revive him and reset the level, but I couldn't, and that was it. We just died just like that. Though our characters were both dead and gone, we decided to go back again, confident we will be more efficient the next time and more careful, but the game dropped its coolest feature so far. See, upon death, you don't get to choose which biome or world you will spawn back in. The game does, so we were shocked by that the level design for the first biome was noticeably different from the one we remember experiencing the first time around. So even though we were 3 hours into the game, with each death the game felt anew. And dying we did. First death was because of the annoying checkpoint system, but the second one was actually quite funny. My teammate died again. I mean, he tends to die a lot, but so do I, but shut up. Anyway, my teammate died and my character jumped into a cliff on my way back to the checkpoint. I thought he was going to cross over the gap, but he just wanted to yeet himself, and to be honest, I don't really blame him. Third death was just me being stun locked by your typical, mob leader on my way back to again reviving my teammate. When you play the professional difficulty, you feel like you can never be surprised by what it means to be stun locked, but I was proven wrong. I guess you never truly know. Anyway, we kept spawning in new biomes, and we were all that time we were clueless regarding what exactly we were supposed to do or where we should go. And the enemies also, keep in mind, the enemies kept changing with each biome. Something I have to give them credit for. Enemy diversity, I feel like the enemy diversity is really good. And because of that, because we kept changing biomes, we didn't have time to figure out how to take down enemies and their patterns. We didn't have time to adapt. In the last biome, we noticed the timer and didn't really mind it until there was a countdown. And you know that usually when there's a countdown, it means that something bad is about to happen. And when the countdown eventually reached 1 or 0, well, They just gassed the whole place up, and chitty chitty bang bang, guess what? Everybody died. Yeah, we all died. Enemies, the character, everybody died. Turns out we were supposed to kill every single enemy on that level before the timer runs out, which is funny. I say it's funny because that's exactly what we were trying to do at the time. We're trying to survive, we weren't even trying to explore anything, we were trying to kill everything, but apparently we were too slow, and we paid for it. But here's the thing, the game can spawn 20 enemies at a time, and they can come from every direction, every angle, and they hit like trucks, and they hit through walls, and they all have aimbot. Yeah, GG. So after losing 4 hardcore characters, we decided to keep playing, but just not on hardcore, but still Nightmare. And in my opinion, hardcore is not the problem. Nightmare is, well, it is faithful to its name. It is truly a nightmare. We just not wanted anything to do with permadeath until we understood how the game works and what was expected from us. Something you should do. You don't have to die 4 times before understanding that you're doing something wrong. But hey, at least you shouldn't be as stupid as we were. We kept dying, bringing the overall death counter to 7, with the countdown being the icing on the cake, because that was the breaking point. And mind you, I personally think the experience would have been way worse if I was playing by myself. I think overall the game is very fun, especially in co-op. You will definitely make some awesome memories and have some very good laughs. I just don't agree with some design choices, especially the checkpoints not being accessible in combat. You know, what is that? Anyway, last night I went to bed looking like a bitch. I gotta be honest, because the game bullied me, and the whole time I was getting my ass kicked, I was having fun, uncovering new ways, the new ways the game can fuck with us, and fuck with us it did. Needless to say, it is a very resourceful game. Remnant 2 is here to stay, and so far, I have no issue recommending the game. It is a very solid one, but last night, it was the worst game ever made, but that was last night. And also, fun fact, we never, ever even seen a boss fight. In those 4 or 5 hours we played, we never made it to a boss fight because we kept dying before we get there. Anyway, I'm Jisoo, and I will not rest until I beat this game on hardcore or apocalypse, because yeah, there's also that apocalypse difficulty which you only unlock once you beat the game once.